It's budget season for local governments all across the state of Indiana, and the perfect time to explain the process here in Evansville, Indiana. My name is Steve Schaefer, Deputy Mayor of Evansville, serving Mayor Lloyd Winnicky, the 34th mayor of our great city. Budget 101 is a perfect title for this presentation, as it should serve as a tool for citizens to better understand the financial operations of the city, and hopefully appreciate the transparent nature in which the people's business is conducted. First, the basics. A quick refresher on the city of Evansville. Evansville is currently the third largest city in the state of Indiana and is located in Vanderburgh County, with a population of almost 118,000 people inside the city limits. When looking at the map, it's important to note that the city limits do not reach the University of Southern Indiana, or even all the way to Interstate 69 to the east. Darmstadt and McCutcheonville are outside the city limits, as is the fairgrounds to the north, and all of the residential areas near the Deaconess Sports Park along Green River Road. Knowing the boundaries is important, but the elected officials are the ones making the decisions. Evansville has a mayor who serves as the executive in 20-plus departments, ranging from the police department, parks, fire, transportation services, who all carry out the day-to-day functions of city government. The legislative body is the city council, made up of 6 wards and 3 at-large seats. The city council typically meets every other week and passes ordinances or laws. In my experience, a more efficient use of your tax dollars is knowing where to go or which officials to contact for specific things. Here are a few examples that are outside of the city's jurisdiction, hence not the city. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I'm driving down the Lloyd Expressway and there's a delay, or you hear others blame the city for potholes or other problems on the expressway. Well, it's owned and maintained by the state of Indiana. Same with services such as Medicaid or getting a license. Not happy with a school policy or think there should be more funding for a certain program? That's the school corporation, in our case, the EVSC. Same with the library. The EVPL exists and has a board of trustees appointed by the EVSC and county government. Needing assistance with bills or additional relief, or in some areas of the county, fire protection service. That's township government, which there are 8 townships in Vanderburgh County. Not thrilled with a road, bridge, or any other issue outside of the city limits. That would be county government, mainly directed towards the county council or the commissioners. And finally, we receive calls all the time about Medicare, Social Security, and veterans benefits, which are all handled by the federal government. So enough with the civics lesson. Let's discuss the budget process for city government. The budget process starts in the spring, usually April or May, with city department heads developing their budgets based on needs and services. In June, the mayor's office and the controller's team meet with each department head to discuss their draft budgets. Based on their input and revenue projections from the state, the mayor presents a balanced budget to the city council. The budget proposal is then considered through public hearings between the council and the department heads. Negotiations take place between the administration and the council leadership based on the issues that come up during the hearings. In the October, early November timeframe, the City Council will hold public meetings to discuss, propose amendments, and vote on the proposed budget. When the Council finally approves the budget, it heads to the state for certification, which typically happens before the end of the year. It is important to note that the budget process begins with the mayor and his administration, which make up the executive branch. The legislative body, meaning the city council, can only cut or remove items from the proposed budget. Likewise, only the mayor can add to the proposed budget. So, how is city government really funded? Well, there are many different revenue sources to fund the operations of local government. The largest revenue source is in the form of property taxes, which are an ad valorem tax, meaning they are allocated to each taxpayer or property owner proportionately according to the value of their property. Keep in mind that while property taxes is a major revenue source, it only comes to the city about 2 to 3 times a year in large amounts. Think of it this way. Most receive a paycheck biweekly or maybe even monthly. Can you imagine being paid twice or 3 times a year? That's where municipal finance is very different than budgeting in the private sector or with your own checkbook. When you put gas in your vehicle, renew your license, or buy a car, there are various fees that are collected by local and state governments. Those funds are distributed to the city in the form of motor vehicle highway funds or local roads and streets funding. Our community benefits by having a casino that produces revenue to the city from admissions or wagering. If you or visitors come to the casino and spend some money, a portion goes to that funding. Same goes with dining or drinking at a bar or restaurant. The food and beverage tax is a tool used in 15 counties and 17 cities in the state of Indiana. Some states have a sales tax. Indiana allows an income tax. In Vanderbilt County, there is a local income tax, or LIT, as well as a public safety LIT, which is dedicated solely for public safety. Obviously, these are both imposed where income is earned. While there are many primary sources of revenue, the city does receive grant funding from both the state and federal government for various projects and initiatives. The city also charges minimal fees for certain permits or services. And then the utility, whether water or sewer service charges, are paid by the ratepayers who use those direct services. On the flip side are the expenses. Where does the money go? The general fund is the operating fund, which covers personnel and items necessary for city government to operate. From this chart, you can tell that personnel make up about 88% of the general fund. Currently, there are 1,200 full-time positions in the city, both bargaining and non-bargaining. During the summer months, add in another 100 or so part-time employees to manage our parks, pools, and golf courses. Another major cost to the city are capital items, ranging from public safety equipment, the parks, Mesker Park Zoo, water main replacements, Deaconess Aquatic Center, or police and fire trucks. These are the large dollar items that are funded through casino and LIT funds. Many are unaware that our utility has separate water and sewer employees and operations. Even so, the utility provides the Evansville metropolitan area with high quality, safe, dependable water and sewer service. In addition to the normal operations, there are massive capital programs underway. Refresh Evansville is the program on the water side, and Renew Evansville is a result of the federally mandated consent decree to modernize our sewer system. The plan is at the cost of $729 million over the next 20-plus years. Unfortunately, these massive projects are typically underground and out of sight. But when something breaks, it is a major inconvenience. Just a few additional items to note. The city and all local governments depend on revenue projections and final certification from the state of Indiana. Regarding property taxes, Indiana property tax caps now limit the amount of property taxes to 1% of property values of owner-occupied homes, 2% for farmland, and 3% for all other property. While a great benefit to the taxpayer, city government has felt the impact dramatically. Over the past 10 years, the city has received approximately $100 million less in property tax revenue due to the caps. And lastly, external factors like unemployment rates or fuel sales can impact revenues and expenses for local government. For example, the current COVID-19 pandemic has delayed property tax revenues and impacted almost every single source of revenue to the city, to the point that local government will feel its effects for at least 2 to 3 years. And that's it, a brief tutorial on Evansville and its budget process. For more information, please visit the city website at www.evansville.in.gov. And thank you for your interest in our city.